This is your boy DJ Leon D, and on this channel we talk about travel, money, and lots of cooking. Three things I know quite a bit about. I'm not an expert at anything. Nope, not an expert. I just been around a long time and know a lot. Let's get it on. Let's talk about Traeger grills. Let's talk about Traeger grills, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. I am an expert on Traeger grills, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. But I've had almost every type of pellet grill that's decent on the market. And see, I've had Camp Chefs, I've had Louisiana grills, I've had master built charcoal. But when it comes to just being the best in that particular market, that's non-propane, Traeger just stands out. It just stands out. And it's not Traeger's fault that everyone is now catching up. Because don't get me wrong, there are some other brands out there. I like Camp Chef a lot because this amount of surface space on their stackers are great. You get 2,500 square feet. I mean, you get a whole lot. But like most things though, those things don't maintain the temperature very, very well. They be within 15, 20 degrees, and that's to me is just way too far off because that could affect, and it does affect your cook time. But I like a lot of the fancy stuff, the Wi-Fi and all that. But let me tell you something though. It's like a pretty woman. Everything that looks good in clothes ain't good naked. No, 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 no. Everything that looks good in clothes don't look good naked. So, like I said, right now, I have the Pro 34, I have the 780, I have the Ironwood, and I have a brand new Timberline. The Ironwood's brand new. I bought them about the same week. Now, one thing I've been very, very good at is that I can buy a Traeger grill and then I can sell it. My Camp Chef, I sold those, at like 2/3 of what I paid for them, and I had them for like about 6 years. So I've never had a problem where I live at selling good, clean, functional grills. Never had a problem. But let me tell you something though. Let me run through the three Traeger grills I use the most. Now, I use the Pro 34 a lot. I use the Ironwood a lot. I use the Timberline a lot. But saying that, let me tell you what I like about each one of them. The Pro 34 is just simple. It's a beast. It is just a flat out beast. It is so dependable. Never had an issue. Never had a problem. Plug it in, set it, and go. The Timberline, same way. Not a problem. So, but the thing with the Timberline, I'm going to give you the cons in a minute. Timberline's cleaning it up is a little bit more time consuming than the Pro 34. I love the Ironwood. But, nowadays Traeger give you almost like a kitchen on the Ironwood and the Timberline. They give you all this other stuff that you don't need. Just give me the damn smoker and let me go to work. I don't need something I can hang my tongs on. I can hang my other stuff on, and I don't need a griddle. I'm not going to get up at 6:30 in the morning and cook pancakes on my smokers. That's not me. Some people may do that. Not I. So, and the reason I said that because I'm giving you a grade that I'm telling you about these smokers based on my needs and my wants and not yours or anybody else's. Now, you may give me a Timberline that's got 500 functions on it. That's great. I'm never going to use 500 functions. I'm never going to fry fish on my Timberline. I'm never going to fry fish on my Ironwood. I'm never going to fry fish on my Pro 34. It's not going to be done. Some of you may do it, but when I buy a smoker, I set it on my deck, which is very, very large. My deck is 32 by 16. I set it on my deck. I get me a big old umbrella. I go to work. I'm not going to move it when I buy it. The only time I'm going to move it is when I sell it. And they are heavy as hell. The Pro 34 might be 150 pounds, but I'm going to promise you, the Ironwood and Timberline is well over 200 pounds. They're heavy as hell. They're heavy duty. Now, the Timberline, love it. Lots of space. But don't believe the hype. You're not getting 12 racks of ribs on there. They tell you 12 to 15. No, it's not going to happen. If you do, it is tight as nuts. It is tight. There's no space between them. Tight as nuts. The ironwood, exact same way. Lots of space. But the ironwood, you got the your first level and second level is all your space. With the Timberline, you got 3 levels. The Pro 34, you got 2 levels. But now, let's get into what I don't like about them. The Pro 34, not a lot of rack space, but you do get quite a bit. It's ideal if you cook them for just your family. It's ideal. The ironwood, lots of space. 885 square inches or whatever, lots of space. If you cook them for your family and a couple of friends, you're good to go. The Timberline, you cook for the whole neighborhood. You can cook for the whole neighborhood. And now, some of you may ask, why do I have 3 of them? Because I cater. When I cater, I want a lot of space. And I use each one for a different type of meat. I generally put my chicken on my Timberline, and I put my ribs on my ironwood, and normally I put my pork on my Pro 34. So I use each one for a different purpose. Because I do that because 2 out of the 3 are very easy to clean. The Timberline and the ironwood are easy to clean. Pro 34 is a little bit more, but it's another 5 minutes. It's not like it's going to wreck your whole weekend or wreck your whole life. Get over it. Now, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about them. Oh, one other thing about the Pro 34 I love, the grease bucket. Rolls off to the bucket, throw the bucket away, start again. I love that function. But let me tell you what I don't like about them. With the Pro 34, you don't get all that space you want, but you got enough for a family. So don't fool yourself thinking you ain't got a lot. You got 780 square inches or something like that. So you're all right. The Timberline, you got lots of space. But what I don't like about the Timberline, grease fires. I've had about 7 or 8 grease fires because the grease builds up in a couple spots. And I've had fires where my temperature went to 700 degrees. It ain't even designed to go that high, but it did. So you can never turn your eye on it. But I found out if you clean it after every single cook, you all right. The ironwood, never grease fire, but it's not the easiest one to clean. It's not the easiest one to clean. It's on the ironwood. And ironwood just seems like the installation is not a heavy lead type grill. The new ones are. They're heavier than the old ones. The old ones were very almost like aluminum. What do you want to call it? It was lightweight. The Timberline is a beast when it comes to weight. When you close it, it is sealed. The Pro 34, when you close it, it's not sealed. It's very, very light. The lid is very light. Very light. So, now, my favorite one by far is the Pro 34. The temperature is not as accurate as the ironwood because it's not Wi-Fi. It's not a lot of other things. But I can put probes in there, roll with it. But it is 100% dependable all the time. It's always dependable. You said it, you're going to be within 15 to 20 degrees, maybe 10 degrees off. But it is always reliable. Never had an issue with it. Had it for years. This is my second one. I sold my first one. It's just so dependable. Now, it's ugly when you get through cooking because it just puts grease everywhere. But it's never going to catch on fire. You're not going to have the problems. And it's so cheap for what you get. For $700, you're getting a beast. I'm talking about a flat out beast. It's like an athlete. The rest of them, the ironwood, the temperature, you're going to be within 5 degrees of what you set it at. You can be within 5 degrees. Not a problem. It's just that the ironwood is so bulky with all the other extra tray stuff. I had tongue holders. You got a lot of crap that I don't use. You don't. You pay for it. But I don't want to pay for it and then have to disassemble it when I get home. The Timberline, if you take away the fires, and the Timberline, the Timberline and the Ironwood, that Wi-Fi on my phone has never worked. It's never worked. But it's not a deal killer to me. It's never worked. It's never gonna work. And I got the app, the Traegar app. I just got rid of all that stuff. I just use a probe. I set it. I don't leave it by itself because they caught fire a couple times, and they were grease fires, and they just go from 0 degrees to like 700 in like a couple seconds. I mean, so you have to be careful with that. If I was telling somebody which one to buy, I would tell them, if you want it to start up and be the way you want to be, the Pro 34, but the Timberline and the Ironwood, one thing I do like the super smoke mode. I like that because I stayed on that for like 30 minutes. I come back, then I put it on the right temperature. And it gets the temperature very, very quick. And if you got if you got Ironwood or a Timberline, you get a grease fire, yeah, it goes well beyond the temperature you set. I can promise you that. I feel like when I use the Timberline, I gotta have a bottle of water close by. I feel that way. And seem like I can cook food with a lot of grease, but when but on the Timberline, when I cook food with a lot of grease, like say pork, I don't see a lot of grease in the grease tray, in the grease pan. I don't see a lot. Not what I would think. Because when I go to the Pro 34 and I put ribs or chicken on there, I can see the grease. It's not like it's gonna, fill up the can in like 2 seconds. That's not the case at all. But I can see the grease. Timberline, I'm not sure where the grease is going. Because I put out the grease tray, I just don't see a lot of grease. Not what I expect. I have cooked the same number of slabs of ribs on the Pro 34, the Ironwood, and the Timberline, the exact same. I put 6 on each one of them. And I look at how much grease goes into the grease bucket on the Pro 34. That's a lot more grease than I see on the Timberline or Ironwood. I wonder why. Because I didn't do anything to the meat. And I wonder why that is the case. So, saying that, I don't know why. But at the same time, the temperature control is easier on the Ironwood and Timberline. But I am so used to the Pro 34 that when I set it at 250, it's going to be at 244. I know that. I know exactly when I set it at 225, I know it's going to read 218. I know that. That's called knowing your grills. Now, let me tell you a disadvantage of the Pro 34, as much as I love it. It does not cook the entire grill the same temperature. In other words, you got cold spots and hot spots. Everybody knows that. So you don't have it all equal and even. Now on the Timberline and Ironwood, you have less cold spots. The temperature from the left to the right, it varies very, very small. On the Pro 34, that number gets big. So you can have your first 3 racks of ribs totally done on the right-hand side, and you get another hour on the left-hand side on the Pro 34. On the Ironwood and Timberline, all the food is done within a couple of minutes of one another, which is what you really want. You don't want it to be done in stages of an hour here, hour there. No. You don't want that. Once one side is done, you want the other side to be done as well. That's how you can backwards plan when your food is going to be ready. That's how you know that. So I like to have all my stuff ready to go at the same time. And don't get me wrong, I have cooked other meats on these smokers than just the ones I mentioned. I have done veal, I have done fish, and I have done all kinds of elk and buffalo, bison. I've done all that. Because sometimes when I got some time off, which is very rare, I like to go mess around with them and see what works, what doesn't work. So when I cook that, especially for catering, you got to know when your food is going to be done because you got a pickup time or a delivery time. So you need to know that. You can't say, I'll have you half of your ribs at 1 o'clock and the other half at 2 o'clock. That's not how catering works. They want all their food at the same time, and I don't want to be having food finishing up an hour behind the other food, because now you got a temperature problem. I want everything done at the same time, or at least close to it, so I can deliver it, prep, doom, go. So that's how I work. I don't put food under heat lamps. I have hot boxes to keep them at a certain temperature, but that's how I work. I've had food that you can tell that rib got done 2 hours before the other rib got done. I've been places where they're selling food and they're selling it and it's not cooked right. I like my food to be perfection. If it's not, I damn sure gave it a hell of a shot at it. So, if I could redo all my Traeger grills again, rebuy them again, I probably would have a deck with about 6 or 7 Pro 34s on it. That's what I would have. I would have a whole lot of Pro 34s. I would not have a Timberline or an Ironwood. Nope. Wouldn't have any of them. Because they got some hell of a functions, but what good is it? It's kind of like buying AC in a car and you live in Canada. What the hell point is that? You're never going to use it. I've been to Canada. Nobody uses AC, but you paid for it. You paid for it, and now you know you're not. Now you know you're never going to use it. That's how I feel about this Timberline, because I would do the Pro 34, and if not that, then I would do the Ironwood. So that's just me. I would do that. Save yourself some money, because when you spend $2,000+ on a smoker, you do not want to waste your money. You want to use all the functions that's available. I don't want to use functions. I don't want to pay for functions that I'm never going to use. I feel with the Timberline, you're going to do that. I know for a fact you're going to do that. Unless you're somebody who's going to get up and cook pancakes one morning, and the same day you're going to do ribs and a brisket or whatever. You're going to do all that in one day. Or sometimes people use the Timberline instead of their oven or stove. I get that. I don't. But some people do. That's not me. But if you're going to do all that, then maybe it makes sense for you. But my question is, why go buy a $2,000+ oven when you know for a fact that the one that costs $700 would do the exact same job for what you want to do, and that one goes in the house? So my oven in my house is a 6-burner that does a lot more things than my smoker does, and it's a lot cheaper. And I don't have to worry about the elements fighting with me to make sure my temperature is consistent, because I already know that it is going to be on my stove and oven in the house. So why am I going to go buy something that I got to fight with? If it's cold, if it's too hot, I got to buy pellets. No. The one in the house, just turn it on, baby, and say, burn, baby, burn. That's how that works. So when you buy the Timberlines or the Traegers, you need to really look at the Pro 34. They got some other ones, the 780 and all that. But the Pro 34, for 99% of you guys, that's all you need. That's all you need. Or buy a Camp Chef. But I'm not a Camp Chef fan because the temperature is all over the place. And I found out when I try and smoke food when it's like 40, 45 degrees outside, you really struggle trying to maintain a temperature on a pellet. And it burns a lot more pellets too. I noticed all that kind of stuff. So, Traeger got a hell of a name, but you got a lot of people, a lot of different companies that's now putting pressure on Traeger because they're building similar things. But here's the one big deal that for a Traeger you got to know. You can buy a faulty part of a Traeger from damn near anybody on Amazon. I found it out. you can buy if something goes wrong, everybody got Traeger parts. Not everybody got Camp Chef parts. Not everybody got Masterbuilt parts. Not everybody got Louisiana Grills part. You got to go back to the manufacturer. And everybody knows when you go to the manufacturer, like going to Apple, you're going to pay a premium for some shit that you probably don't need or it should be cheaper. You're going to pay a premium. That's just how it rolls. So when you want to buy a Traeger, hit me up at crazyworld61 at gmail.com and I'll tell you how they work, what works best. You get people on YouTube videos. Like I said, I don't talk about things that I don't have, I don't do. What I'm telling you is things that I know for a fact. And I'm not an expert, but I can tell you how they all work and how they all don't work. That I'm an expert at. Because every problem you can have with the Traeger, I've had, and I've never really had a major problem that I couldn't fix. Now, I don't like my deck on fire from the timberline. No, but it's not that bad. It's something I can't fix. Because the first time I saw it, I didn't freak out. I just said, holy hell, what caused that? And then it happened again. And then I realized the grease is not going where it should be going at. But this summer, I'm going to take it apart piece by piece, screw by screw, and see if maybe where I'm diverting the grease to is inappropriate, not right, or maybe I'm doing something that's not right. I'm not blaming Traeger because the problem is consistent. So whatever Traeger did was consistent. And it's not good, but maybe it's something I misread or just didn't look at, or maybe it's the way I got the aluminum foil on my grill. Maybe it's the way I got that. But I'm going to troubleshoot it. I'm going to post it here and let you know how I solved that problem. Because I cannot have a grill or a smoker that costs that kind of money and cannot turn my back on it because it's going to go crazy. So this is DJ Leon D telling you about Traeger grills. Which one to buy? The Pro 34. It's the beast of the beasts.